Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Old Stuff is Better, because it always is. So we're going to be doing, we got the Comet up here behind us. It's up on the rack, and I'm getting ready. We're going to go ahead and pull the engine out of both of them tomorrow morning. And so anyway, what I'm going to be doing is doing a lot of kind of cleanup work, pre-cleanup work. I'm going to pull the steering out of the Comet, the spindles, because they're all 5-bolt. I'm going to pull the exhaust down. You have to see this exhaust. You talk about redneck. This is, it's interesting. We'll put it that way. So I'll show you that in a minute. But anyway, I want to just kind of go through a little bit of challenges that we're going to have with power steering and things like that, because we're going to be taking the power steering out of the Comet and putting it into the Falcon. Oh, by the way, I said last time that that last video was video number 5. It wasn't, it was 4. I was tired. This is video number 5, so I'm sorry if you went looking for 4 and you couldn't find it. This is number 5, that was 4. Sorry for the screw up. Couldn't remake that video, and so anyway, I want to show you a few things here. So sorry, I'm hanging onto the camera here, but let me go ahead and turn this around. Okay, so the power steering ram on the Comet, and all 64, I believe, possibly 64 and up that have power steering. There is 2 bolts. I mean, you can see them here. You really can't see them. 2 bolts at the bottom of the frame rail that are drilled and tapped. And I'm not sure if, let's see if there's a nut that's inside there. So we're going to have to kind of figure out what we want to do with that. But fortunately, we may just have to tap the frame. The frame is pretty thick. It's 2 layers thick. We might just have to tap the frame and do that. But fortunately, there's a long bolt, and you can see it stuck back in the bracket. It comes in from the back side, and that will drill a new hole here. We're also going to take the fuel line, because see, the 6-cylinder fuel line, it comes out ahead of the steering box here and goes right up to the 6-cylinder fuel pump. So we're going to cut the fuel line off back here underneath the frame rail, and I'll add this, we'll splice it in. We'll add this fuel line so that it comes out correctly to the front, and it'll mount onto the sway bar bushing there. Get a light on there. Yeah, there we go. So it's got a special bracket there that holds it on, and that'll make it look correct. Because the point of this whole thing is to not do any redneck sloppy stuff here. This is to show you guys how to do it as close to factory as we possibly can. So, and I know that there's a lot of people that do a lot of modifications. We're not doing the modification thing here. We are trying to do as close to factory as possible. One thing that Dad has elected to do is with the 289, he's going to want to go with Sprint valve covers, the chrome ones, and a chrome air cleaner. So that will be deviating from there. But anyway, what I wanted to show you here too was I got the spindle off, and the ball joints are the same between the 63 and the 65. So the nice thing about the 63 is the ball joints are all removable. In the 65, if you'll notice here, they are riveted in. We're just going to go ahead and leave these control arms to go to the scrap. There's no point in saying, believe it or not, they're still tight. But we have no need for them. So again, old stuff is better. The 63 has bolt-in original ball joints, and if they ever did go bad, we could change them out fairly easy. So anyway, that's kind of where we're going here. Oh, I wanted to show you a little bit of something here. Sorry about the fan again. It kicks on and off once in a while. Dad likes these 289 emblems from, I believe it was a 66 Fairlane, and we're going to go ahead and put them right there. And so I think they'll look kind of cool there. A little bit of identity for the Falcon. So anyway, well, when I get the steering down, I want to show you guys the difference between the 65 steering and the 63 steering. It's quite a difference. Bigger tie rods, different steering geometry and everything. So we'll be right back. Okay, a couple of things we found that are kind of redneck here. Somebody cut a coil off the spring. And I know people do that, but yeah, whatever. Anyway, so now we got to buy a pair of springs, which is okay. So we got them coming, so you see here we got nice dual exhaust, pretty cool. Got bullet mufflers and everything, and you follow the exhaust up, and you're like, what the heck is going on here? And then it just goes into the factory white pipe. So they got a white pipe, single exhaust, and to dual exhaust. And no sense doing it right. Might as well just do it wrong. That's what somebody here did. Yeah, whatever. Okay, a lot of people struggle with getting the Pitman arm off. So this is what we've got. It's just a standard Pitman arm puller. But it won't go around. It won't go around the Pitman arm. See if I can get a better picture of it here. Unless you pull the steering box loose from the frame. So that's what we did. Went ahead and pulled all the bolts. We're gonna take the steering box out anyway. But I can't get the steering box out because the engine is in. And no, it's not gonna come out. Because see there, steering box, it's the exhaust manifold. Thank you, Ford, for your infinite stupidity. So anyway, so that's what we gotta do. Now here's an interesting thing that we found out is that the bolts for the 65 steering box over here are bigger than the 63. Now here's the 65s and here's the 63s. So we're gonna have to figure out how we can drill the holes out in here, but they are reinforced. they're gusseted in there, so we'll have to figure out what we're gonna do there. It's either that or do something with bolts on holding the steering box on. So anyway, we'll deal with that when we put the steering box actually in. We'll do that before we put the engine in. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of show you that two things: the bolts are different, and how to get that Pitman arm off correctly. You can do it in the car. You just got to unbolt it. All right, here is the difference between the 63 manual steering and obviously the 65 is power. We're getting a new ram for it, and the control valve is working pretty good. And we'll get new hoses and things like that. All the tie rod ends from the 65 are in great shape. And let's see. So what best explained here is you can see how the tie rod ends are mounted on the ends of the drag link there. What Ford did was they mounted them inboard on the 65, and that eliminates that bump steer around corners and so on like that. It's a difference. It just drives differently. So the manual 65 steering is what we used in my son's Comet. Ironically, the 6-cylinder had this type of a steering. It's kind of weird, but when we converted to a V8, we pulled everything out of a 65 Falcon for his conversion, and we'll do a video on that one too. Anyway, I wanted to do a little short video. There's quite a difference. Now the tie rod ends, the studs are the same. They go into, I'm sorry, yeah, they do. They would go into the steering knuckles, but we're going to be using everything, the steering knuckles, drums, everything from the 65, so it doesn't really matter. So that's the difference between the two. So I wanted to show you another idiocy on Fomoco's part. So look how close that exhaust is to the starter. They figured, hey, it doesn't work for GM, let's do it too. Now, it looks like, you could get the starter right out of there. Well, remember this, the drag link goes right underneath this thing. It wouldn't be that bad if that bolt there was the same as this bolt up here, but no. Ford makes it come in from that side. So it's just a pain in the butt. Whoever designed this Y pipe here and this whole arrangement had to have time traveled back from the 2000s and said, hey, we're building the 4.6 and the 5.4 the same way. You guys should do it too. For some reason, these past engineers bought the lie. Anyway, so what we're gonna be doing is we're putting a 66, I believe it is, Galaxy exhaust manifold on the left side here. See how this one tilts forward and in? Well, the Galaxy is gonna come out, it's gonna come out kind of at an angle here. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a slip pipe. We're gonna make single 2¼ inch exhaust. You don't need, it's surprising what a single 2¼ inch exhaust will do over a 2-inch dual. So anyway, don't debate about it in the comments because I don't want to hear it because it works. It's kind of like the 3-inch exhaust on a pickup over a dual 2¼ inch. Anyway, we're gonna do single 2¼ inch, and we're gonna have a slip joint here, somewhere back here, where if the transmission ever has to come out, all we gotta do is unhook the Y pipe from the manifolds and we'll take that down. And this way we can also put the cross member in here too, because the cross member bolts to those bolts here and comes over here. Well, you can't do that with this pipe here. You can't get the pan off, you can't do anything. So this pipe is just a real flaw in engineering, we'll put it that way. So anyway, yeah, we're gonna change that all.
Okay, I'm gonna let the jack down.
All right, so we got the engine all unbolted, and for the best, had to wrap a chain around the thing because there's nowhere to put the chain on, nowhere to attach it on there. So go ahead.
Between the motor mounts and stiffens up the frames.
What do you want to do?
I'm gonna let the transmission down.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
Okay, I did.
You did already.
So that should come out of
So
there
it's
now.
stuck.
Once we,
So the transmit, you let the jack down, and but it's
yeah,
stuck.
it didn't drop, so that's got to be pretty balanced. I may have to move that chain further forward, but I'd have to pull the carburetor off if I do that.
Yeah. All right.
So
Well,
it seems to me we should be able to balance it out. If it's that well balanced, let me get underneath and
I don't know.
see what's going on underneath.
It's a happy little engine.
Yeah, it's a happy little 2.3 is what it is. Yeah, there's something.
Let me let the jack down.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's like happy little trees.
There we go.
It's a happy little engine.
Did you see his son is starting to do?
I did, yeah. Yeah, they said he wouldn't have
Okay.
that fast.
It may not be far enough yet.
Yeah.
I don't think it's far enough.
Huh?
I don't think it's far enough.
I agree.
I'm gonna have to put a jack back under there and let it back down on the
You
mount.
could
So you
probably-
guys are gonna have to guide it.
I would say just set it where it is, it will stay. It's not gonna fall through the hole, I doubt.
This bolt is. Oh, that's gonna fall through the hole.
Looks like to me it's gonna fall through the hole.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Well, it's resting on the.
2 lengths further forward.
Okay. Now hold it. Okay.
This reminds me of a government job.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
All the guys.
No kidding.
All right.
Damn, the supervisors we have,
Is that going to come out?
they all get paid for them. Guess you guys a lot of-
Careful, careful.
You're supposed to hold a shovel.
Yeah, exactly.
You have
And
to
I
stand.
am
You have to
clipboard.
stand looking at the shoulder, or, yeah, holding the shovel, leaning over, looking at the other guy. and I'll hold
Wheel it. When you start to wheel it
David?
out.
Dave.
What?
Okay, careful
Starts to
there.
go backwards.
Let's pull it forward a little bit.
Wait. Careful of that, careful of that.
Yeah,
It's good. It's all right. It's just kind of bumping against it.
Yeah. That's for the, John, so this has a prop rod instead of hood springs.
Yeah, it was so cheap they didn't.
Well, no, it's left over from a 62. All right.
Well, but 63s did have springs. Yours did.
Mine's a 63 and a half.
Oh. It's got a draft tube too. That's hilarious.
Environmental concerns? We don't care about that.
Yeah, it's funny because other engines had PCV systems, but this has still got a road draft tube, so
It's for Kansas. We don't care about that mission control stuff. in
No.
Kansas.
No, it's Missouri. It's from
no, it was
Missouri.
made in Kansas.
Yeah, but then it lived its life in Missouri. Yeah.
Well, it was made in Kansas, sold
somebody
in
pull
Missouri.
on this, my ribs sore. Pull it.
You're gonna have to, pull a smidge, but maybe you can go down back a smidge. Well, I think I get it. Yeah, go.
Forward about a foot.
Well, go. Okay, there you go. There you go. There you go. It's out. Go ahead and lift it.
Okay.
All right, there's a 68,000 mile 144. I mean, it runs like a watch.
Now it does. You take it further forward, John.
People are like, don't mess with it.
Yeah, I've had people saying, "What are you doing that for?"
I totally get that.
I know. It's a Survivor. Yeah, it's a Survivor. It's like an early Pinto. So what?
Yeah. So's Tom Hanks. So what?
All right, I gotta show this transmission mount. This is the most hilarious thing got a cantilever spring back there for a mount. It worked.
Well, it takes all the vibration.
You know, this
Yeah.
this is exactly the same as C4 mount. It looks like just
Really?
like the one I have.
Probably. Okay, go ahead and back it up. Okay, there goes all the Falcon parts. Pull the redneck exhaust out of this thing so we can get the rear end out.
Oh, if we can get this off of here.
Yeah, we need to do it anyway. We need,
Yeah.
we need to grab some finish rating oil and get those lines loose. Well, okay, pulling the rear end out. Trying to get the half redneck exhaust out still. I want to measure these too when you get it all unbolted. It's supposed to be, this rear end is supposed to be 3/4 of an inch wider on each side. I think it is. Should have no problem. Well, it's sure coming out a whole lot easier than your Comet.
No kidding.
Well, it's a California car, so
Use a breaker bar to get the ones off
yeah.
on mine. And even then, it got so, the nut got so hot that I could barely touch it.
Mm-hmm.
Go up. What? Hold on, I'll help you in a second.
All right. Oh, we're getting that out soon. I'll save the front lid and the hood for the other Comet.
Left. Left. Go put it in the shed. Just go. Okay.
Here.
Why didn't I think of that?
Somebody else is gonna have to raise that.
Hold on. Hold your horses, puppy. Here, just go and I'll catch it. Will you? Really? Are you good at that?
All right, put that in the shed for later use. So, here, I'll give you a little snippet. Here's the Comet that everything's going to be going on to. So, we'll do a future video on this. After the Falcon build is all done, we'll do a build on this one. If some of you are in the Falcon Club, you probably saw this in one of the newsletters. So, it should have stayed in Montana. It was way too rusted out. But anyway, so we're not gonna go over into detail on this thing today, but just wanted to give you a sneak peek at a future video. Okay, removing the rest of the redneck exhaust. Daniel, why don't you go ahead and pick up that end up there. Let's get the exhaust out the back, or if it'll come out in front.
We're not going to pick up the axle yet.
No,
Exhaust. Huh? Exhaust.
I think we did. Yeah, let's go back. Kind of wind it out of the way. There we go. Okay. So much for the redneck dual exhaust single. Well, okay, it was dual, single, dual. Not exactly a performance oriented exhaust. So, all right, the rear end's ready to come out. We'll be putting that in the Falcon. All right, so the rear end is out of the Falcon. I didn't have a cameraman to be able to help me do that, so basically, Falcon is to, we'll call it ground zero. Rear end's out, engine and transmission are out, and so got to take the 6-cylinder motor mounts off. So now comes the cleaning process. Couldn't find a 63 V8 wiring harness, so we got a 65, and we'll have to graft onto the plug there. That's just a minor thing, and we'll have to change the wiring for the the generator, the regulator, to an alternator regulator. And so we'll make the changes right there at that harness, so we wouldn't have to change the whole harness. So anyway, yeah, I mean it's coming along. So if you're doing one of these swaps, this is what you get it down to, and then now we go back up and we start building. Okay, so we're removing the rear differential out of the Comet, and where a lift definitely helps for sure. What I'm kind of thinking, Daniel, is to maybe put the jack to one side.
All right, so
So we can, maybe we got to push it to one side, drop it, and then take it out.
can you pause real quick?
Okay, so the rear end has to go, it's gonna flop off the jack. The rear end's gotta go to one side, you drop the drum. There you go. And then we'll make the whole thing go the other way. So I'm gonna pause here so I can help maneuver this giant. Okay. There it is. That's probably pretty good. So there's the rear end going in. And yes, it is 3/4 of an inch side by side. Don't think that that's going to be a problem because we're going to use factory wheels and appropriate size tires. So we want that stylish look for the Falcon. So there's the two. So got the 8-inch rear end. It's got 280 gears. We're gonna leave those in, and the little baby rear end had 3 O's. So anyway, there they are side by side. Okay, taking out the 6-cylinder motor mounts, and that frame mount over there that we're gonna put in, actually, believe it or not, lines up with all the holes, so the body isn't even twisted. And radiator that's going to go in the Falcon, new radiator, so we're going to put that in. Transmission fluid looks good. The transmission fluid that's running all over the ground, that's okay.
Trying to catch it all.
So we decided to go ahead, since this Comet is destined for the boneyard. These valve covers are too tall and they're a pain to get off in the car, so we just went ahead and whacked off the shock tower braces, and we'll pull the engine out as one, and we'll pull all of this stuff off. So, yep, getting there. Yeah, there's just we're taking the throttle linkage out, the 6-cylinder. There's just a couple of sheet metal screws holding it in, but it doesn't have any torque on it, so.
Yeah. All right,
We'll change that over to the V8. That's going to be interesting because it doesn't mount in the same place. If it's just sheet metal screws holding it in, then we should be able to just find out. So that's got to be changed.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, getting in there. Right?
Yeah.
We doing it?
Yeah. It's pulling up on that side.
Yeah, I'm going to let the trans down. This is interesting getting it back in again.
Yeah, it's pulling up. It's trying to twist the engine.
Right.
And you pull on the hoist.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Wait. Hang on. It's not coming out of the stud. Lift it up. Okay, now you can pull. All right. Hang on. Hold on. Make sure we're.
I think it's gotta come up.
Got a ground strap. Good. Oh, come on. I'm gonna save that ground strap. I don't want to have to make that over again.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Should come out. Should being the key word. All right. You notice we cut the cord support off.
Yeah.
Getting it back in will be a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
We got ATF running everywhere. I need to get in there.
Oh,
I don't know why we have ATF running everywhere. Because I've got a plug in the back in the tail shaft. It's probably coming out of the vent.
yeah, very well could be.
Wait, I wouldn't lift up anymore. You're hitting the floor.
Well, we're gonna have to.
Okay.
Watch your hand.
Yep. Oh, it's coming out of the speedometer cable housing. That's what it is. The hole there. Okay. Keep coming. Wait.
Gotta go over the starter yet. Well, it might come out through there.
Here, let me move the can. Well, we got nice red ATF. The transmission's in great
That's
shape. At some point in time, it was rebuilt.
Starter's caught on the.
Wait, what?
The starter was caught on the front support.
Okay. Okay, we can go out that way. Okay, so for the engine to go back in again, it'll have to be almost straight up and down, and then it'll go in. Done this before, so it's tight, but it'll work. It's how the factory did it. Well, there it is. We got, huh?
We may have to unbolt the trans and put it in there.
No, it'll all go in. We did the Comet that way.
Okay.
One shot. So, but we got new transmission cooler lines.
Yeah.
We'll take those off. That'll help.
Steam clean everything a
Yeah,
little bit.
get it all cleaned up and painted and so on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's it. So that's kind of it for today. So thanks for joining us, and I got to do a bunch of small stuff. We'll do small videos, but I got to put I got to put the brake pedal in, the steering box, a bunch of wiring, things like that before we, in about a little less than a month, we're going to come back and we're going to stab this thing back down into the 63. And so yeah, thanks for joining us. Okay, here the Falcon goes out. We thought we should throw in another video before we actually finally closed up. But yep, so got Forky here. We think Forky was made in about the early 50s. Forky's been a good fork flips. Had to fix the tire on it this morning. But out goes the Comet. So got the little rear end. Got the had to modify the perches for the little rear end to get it to fit the Comet springs, but there it goes.